It is just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Francisco Teixeira Barbosa, DDS, MBA, all the way from Barcelona, Spain. He graduated from the University Alfonso XL Sabio, Madrid, Spain in 2004, moved his practice to Barcelona where he continued his education at Escuela Superior de Implantologia in Barcelona. I'm so sorry. I know I'm butchering your name. Next time you see me, you can just punch me right in the nose. At the same time, he started his private practice in Barcelona and also finished his degree in Advanced Oral Implantology at Loma Linda University, which is like a 6-hour drive from here. He graduated with an MBA from ESADE Business School, and he's the founder or co-founder of Periospot, which is specialized in digital implant dentistry. My gosh, I am such a big fan of yours. You have so much, your YouTube channel is so huge. And I mean, you got thousands and thousands of subscribers. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Cisco. It's a real honor to have you on the show.
No, thank you, Howard, for this opportunity, and thank you for having me, and also for your kind presentation and introduction to myself. So it's really an honor of being and participate on your internationally renowned podcasting. So
now the listeners,
huge honor.
Everybody listening wants to know how you really pronounce your name. So I want you to say your name. I said Francisco Teixeira Barbosa. Now say it like your mom would say it.
Oh, Francisco Teixeira Barbosa.
Wow. I'll be the cow that jumps over the moon twice before I'll ever be able to say that. First of all, let's get candid. This is Dentistry Uncensored. Let's go right to the beef. The world's in the middle of a pandemic, and we're on the other side of the world. I mean, you know, the Western Hemisphere with the Americas only has 1 billion people. You're on the side that has 7 out of 8 people, and we're hearing in the Americas that Europe is having a second wave, but Americans can't believe anything in their newspapers because it's you can always tell when a politician's lying because their lips are moving, and whenever you read it, you don't know if it's true or not. What's it look like on the ground to you in Barcelona, Spain? Do you see a second wave, or is that hype?
Yeah, the thing is that you cannot feel it because I don't work in an hospital, and but the thing is that there are coming some more restrictions, and you know we have now this sort of that you cannot meet more than 6 people. All the restaurants are being closed for the last week, so they are going to be closed. I think that 2 weeks more. And we have some more restrictions. So from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. we should not go outside. And this I don't know until we will have these restrictions. But now we are taking it more seriously, because in the first wave I think that we didn't took it so seriously, and you know what happened with all the people that died here, and now the deceased people. So I think that right now the politicians are taking it more seriously. I see it very far away, a complete lockdown like in the first wave, but because that there were a lot of consequences, economical consequences, and I think that politicians could not overcome another second lockdown, complete lockdown, but we are seeing some small restrictions every day, and they are trying everything just to reduce, the curve, and trying to get down the cases, everyday cases, the daily cases down. But on the ground, you cannot feel it. The thing is that you just see that you cannot go out for dinner. You have to wait 6 a.m. to go out for a run, but everything the rest is more or less the same. Of course, you if you see a friend, you have to celebrate with your elbows. So we keep doing these kind of things, and this new way of this new reality, that what they call, that is at some point is I completely, I do not agree on this new reality. I think that we will overcome this, and in the near future we will come back to, you know, to the old reality that we would like to be again. And yes, I absolutely agree that what you see in the news, it cannot be, maybe it's not so true, and you know, sometimes they overreact, and yeah, but on the ground you cannot feel it. But in the hospitals, people that work in hospitals, they say that they are starting to see a lot of cases, and they are starting to be collapsed.
And by the way, if some of the kids listening want to know, what was the meaning when Howard said, you know, you can't believe the news? If you're still young and you believe the news, please go back and read the book, Manufacturing Consent, The Political Economy and the Mass Media by Noam Chomsky. That was the, you know, when you look at economics, for me, Milton Friedman, Nobel Prize winner, who wrote the book Free to Choose and got a Nobel Prize, and explaining that all inflation was monetary policy. In media, the Milton Friedman would be Noam Chomsky. And if you're a kid and you're listening to whatever news source there is on TV, it doesn't matter what country where you're at, read the book Manufacturing Consent, The Political Economy of Mass Media, because I actually own a media company, and it's hard to keep my mouth shut because journalism competes with just people buying the media. I mean, there's articles in dental magazines that are basically the instructions from the bonding agent kit. I mean, so read Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. But anyway, but you said you didn't believe in it. I'm wondering this. I'm 58, so I'm almost 60. You're a young kid. You're what, 41? So I'm old enough to be your dad, especially since I'm Catholic. You only have to be 15 to be a father if you're Catholic. But at 40 years old, do you personally fear you catching the coronavirus out there? Are you scared of it, or do you think it's hype and exaggerated? And where do you? Because you're a smart surgeon.
Yeah, well, thank you for your words, kind words. But I have to tell you my story. In February, I was really training hard. I did one marathon and eight half marathons in February, and in the first week of March,
marathons in 1 month.
Eight in 1 month, 8 half marathons and one marathon in February. I did.
Wow.
I was training really hard. And in March, in the first week of March, I start feeling a fever, and I start feeling very, very bad. I went to bed, and it was Corona. So I was sick for Corona, and I was in bed literally for 3 weeks, you know, almost 2 weeks of fever, really high fever. I could not recover. I was really feeling very bad. So I felt in first person what Corona is. And I can tell you, it's really serious disease. You have to be really well prepared, and your body has to be strong to overcome this disease. Because I was, you know, at that moment, I was really prepared because I was physically, you know, with a lot of sports. I was really, really in good shape. And this Corona almost took me into the hospital because I was really feeling bad. I could not eat. I could not almost walk. I just going into the shower for me was like climbing the Kilimanjaro. So it was a huge effort for me to do anything. I barely could write an email. So for me, it's really serious. But the thing is that people, you know, around in my family, I have 5 kids, and my wife,
5 kids,
and yes, I have 5 kids. Yes.
Are you Catholic or Catholic?
Yeah, Catholic. Traditionally Catholic. All my family, they are Catholics, and so yeah, we are here. We have so we have a big family. We are like the Kelly family here in the neighborhood. And of course, you know, 2 of my kids, they have some symptoms of Corona. They went with fever, but it was not as so bad as myself. And also my wife, she only had, small symptoms of corona, so it depends on the person how corona can attack you. And I really don't know why on my case I was feeling so bad. So when someone tells me that corona is a disease that you have to take care, I strongly recommend it to stay away from it as much as possible and avoid it until we have the vaccine, because you never know if you're physically prepared to get this kind of this virus, because we do not yet understand what is behind this virus and how powerful it can be, because it's really strange that it attacks your lungs, but then suddenly you can have a thrombus. It's really a very complex disease.
Yeah, I actually talked to a coronavirus that was leaving my body, and he said that there was so much radiation, mercury, sodium hypochlorite, tooth dust, eugenol, latex, methyl methacrylate, and acetone that the virus gave up in my body and just said it was too toxic for him to live there. He said he was going to go try to find some healthy person like you where he wanted to live, but he wasn't going to live in my body. The last time we talked was actually 4 years ago when you wrote that article, Immediate Implants, Tips for Improving the Outcome in the Aesthetic Zone by Francisco Teixeira Barbosa. And that was an amazing article. I've always My brand, when I think of you, I always think of implants. I just think of your YouTube channel has so much implants. Is that really you? I mean, are you mostly an implantologist?
Yeah. I'm very focused on implant dentistry, but also on the digital dentistry, also on the digital workflows and how to implement digital workflows into the whole ecosystem in implant dentistry. So this is my main field of work. Of course, I can do other things. I can do perio surgery. I can do some, wisdom teeth. I do some oral surgery. But my inspiration and also where I'm focused when I go to study scientific articles, I'm very focused on implant dentistry mainly.
So his websites. He's got I'd recommend go to periospot.com. Periospot, I think a periodontal disease is a spot, Periospot. But on YouTube, my God, he's got an incredible YouTube channel, and it's youtube.com. And why don't you change Francisco Teixeira Barbosa to just Cisco or the Cisco Kid? That might be easier. Did you ever hear that song, Cisco Kid?
No, Cisco Kid, no.
Oh my God, no. That was one of my favorite all-time songs growing up. It's by the band War. Have you heard of that, Kyle? Cisco Kid? Oh yeah, it's called Cisco Kid. And every time, seriously, every time I see your name or I'm watching one of your YouTube channels, the instant I see Francisco, I think of the Cisco Kid. I'll email you the song so you can see it. But it's truly one of the greatest songs. But where does of all the things you could do in dentistry, what was your infatuation with dental implants? Why was that where you kind of landed on and stayed?
Well, I have to say that my inspiration for implants, I think that it was the first time I saw Maurice Salaman on stage.
Oh, yeah.
So it was such a huge impact. And when I saw him, and then 10 years after, I met him in person, and we could go for a dinner, and I felt him such a close person, But when I saw him the first time on the stage lecturing about implant dentistry, I said to myself, "Oh my God, I want to be like this guy. How he communicates, how he delivers a message, how he makes everything simple, and how with the passion. You feel that he has passion for what he's explaining, what he's doing. That I saw myself, on the stage also and doing the same thing. And I visualize myself and I foresee myself in some years doing the same down Marie Salama, but of course, in such a high level, but on my own, events. So I finally made it, but it was my strongest inspiration. It was definitely Maurice Salama.
Yeah, love Maurice. He's managing partner of Goldstein, Garber, and Salama.
Yes.
They sold their practice to my very good friend Rick Workman, CEO of Heartland Dentistry, and I'm pretty sure the only dentist on earth who has $1 billion. And he's also now the owner of Dental XP. And he's also, if you're listening, Maurice, you've said you're going to come on my show like 3 times. He's always so busy. He's always like, oh, yeah. I'll do it next week. And then next week falls 5 months later. I'm like, dude, it's past a week now. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll do it. And in fact, when I'm in Atlanta, last time I was in Atlanta, I didn't even call and make an appointment. I thought, okay, this guy's way too busy. Last time I saw him, I just walked in his office unannounced. I was on a layover in Atlanta. And they say, yeah, 3 hours. And the first thing I thought is, oh, my God, I can get to the 600 Galleria Parkway, Suite 800, Atlanta, Georgia, and back. But, yeah, just a great guy. Love guys like that, trying to make the profession better. So on implants, you said you pull wisdom teeth. You said you do surgery. I'm always finding kids who pull teeth, do extractions, actually say they love extractions, but they're afraid of implants. And I was wondering if you could kind of compare what kind of extraction skills would you need to be able to be an implantologist. And when I say implantologist, I know when you go to the big meetings, the big sexy thing is the all-on-4 and all that kind of stuff. But I'm in real world. In my world, for every one time you do an all-on-4, you do 100 all-on-none. It's called a denture. And most implants are placed one at a time to replace a 6-year molar. But what type of, if this kid can extract this type of teeth, what would be equivalent to him placing a single implant to replace a 6-year molar or a bicuspid?
I think that, the most important thing that you have to know when you are getting into implant dentistry is that you have to be very careful in choosing the right patient for the implant dentistry, for your first implant. So it has to be a very suitable case. That you know quite well the anatomical limitations that you have, the bone availability, the medical conditions of the patient, and also the willingness of the patient to collaborate with you in this surgery, in this first surgery. So I think that, doing an implant and between me and you is a very straightforward thing. It's drilling something in a hole that is the bone, is drilling a hole in a bone, and then placing an implant that you can compare to a screw at some moment, of course, but we have to respect biology. And of course, you have to respect all the events that happen, after you place an implant, with all due respect. But at the end, the surgery of replacing one finger tooth in the posterior region, you really should understand, the first thing is to choose the right case and have a correct risk assessment of the case. There is this publication, the SAC classification, the ITI for me is my favorite assessment tool that you can go through, and you can check, you can do a sort of checklist before you go to a surgery to check if your case is simple, complex, a straightforward, or an advanced case. So if you see that your case is straightforward, you can go for it. But of course, you need to know about anatomy. You need to know the limitations, anatomic structures that you cannot touch or you should not invade. And this is, I think, that the most important things that you should know, should understand, and also have a good mentor. Have someone that is over your shoulder, helping you at least during the first surgeries, and correcting you, and if something goes wrong, is there for you. I think that this is the most important thing for someone that wants to start in implant dentistry.
By the way, you even have 10,000 followers on Twitter at Cisco_research, and I love your Twitter handling. How you have father of 5 kids, you have 5 little smiley faces. But I notice you always say Tuminha DDS, Tuminha TUMINHA_DDS. What is Tuminha DDS?
Oh, this is, to me, is how we say in Portuguese. You spell it Tuminha. It's how my family calls me. They do not call me neither Francisco, neither Cisco. They call me Tuminha.
And is that just you, or is that what they call all dads?
No. They call me Tuminha because my first words when I was born, when I was a baby, 1 year old or 1 year and a half, I only could say Tuminha. And because I'm 5 years old, I just could only say Tuminha, and everyone started calling me Tuminha, and my sister called me Tuminha, and this is how my family calls me, Tuminha. Yes, it's like.
I wondered what that was. I thought it's something I didn't understand. That is so cute. My God, that's adorable. And I was also curious. Here, the big first holiday of the fall is Halloween at the end of this month, and I was wondering, is that a U.S. thing, or do they have Halloween in Portugal?
Yeah,
or Spain?
We are sort of importing these traditions, and I really like and enjoy it to import this tradition for the US. I think Halloween, all my kids, they are really excited about Halloween. Of course, we have a party on Saturday, but we have, of course, with the corona, some restrictions on the number of people. But of course, I will go with my Freddie Mercury outfit. So yeah, we are start celebrating these things, and I really enjoy it. I hope that in the short term we also import the Thanksgiving, also because I think that's a beautiful way to celebrate in family, and you always see these films where people celebrate Thanksgiving, and you see this is quite familiar, and I feel jealous about these traditions that you have in the US and we don't have. And at some point we are start importing these ones, and the first one is Halloween because it's quite easy, and for the kids it's such entertaining. You go knocking on the doors and you receive a lot of candies. So for them it's just an amazing day, and they are really excited. So this tradition is already implemented at least in Spain, in the big cities. So and I hope that in the rest of Europe they are going to start also as well to implement, not at the level in the US, because in the US you are it's top level, but I think that we are going to start importing these kind of traditions. And the Thanksgiving, it would be great as well. I love the turkey. So I tried to cook one turkey last Christmas, and it was not so successful. That's why when I see that perfect turkey that you cook during your Thanksgiving, I feel a little bit jealous about the US and all the US food and traditions. Yeah, at some point.
When I look at you're a master consultant with Straumann. You're the co-founder of Periospot, but you're a global customer success trainer and educational manager at Straumann. And I wanted you to look around the world, because it seems like when you look at some of the data, some of the data is showing that, like in countries like Korea, Germany, Spain, Brazil, 3 out of 4 dentists place an implant every month. And then you go to the United States, and it's like, yeah, that's true with all the specialists, the periodontists and the oral surgeons, but it's kind of the opposite. It's almost like 3 out of 4 dentists did not place an implant last month. Do you see that trend? Do you see that around the United States and the world, or is that closing in or going away? What does that look like to you?
I think that the implant growth and the implant implementation, and also the implant treatment is going to be you know, a, a very, very common treatment in the near future in the United States. You know, there are, of course, countries like Spain or South Korea where implants are so popular, where the ratio or implant per 1,000 implants, it's so huge. And then you go to other countries where, for example, the UK or the US, that there is so much room for improvement that you know, there will come to an end that there will be you know, you will finally catch up. I think that the US will finally catch up. Definitely the Spanish and the South Korean numbers, and you see that, you know, the popularity of the implants are going to also to be much more, are going to increase in the upcoming years, you know, because more and more clinics are open. We are now the DSOs, and you know, people in DSOs, they have also internal trainings to train people to enable these GDPs to start, you know, with implant dentistry. Maybe you start restoring, then you start doing your first cases, you know, easy cases, and then you finally become, you know, like an oral surgeon 10 years later, and you are doing full arches. So I think that you definitely in the US and in other countries, you will definitely catch up, and we will see that, you know, the implant is going to be a mainstream treatment in the midterm in any country.
And what do you think is the main driver of why we see these discrepancies in implants placed per thousand among different countries? What do you think is driving that mostly?
I think from what I could say, it's 1 of the factors could be culturally, because, you know, here in Spain we are the DSO, one of the biggest DSOs here in Spain. They are more than 20 years old. They began more than 20 years ago, and they like democratize the implant dentistry. So they convert implants in a commodity, in a sort of commodity. You know, it's not anymore a luxury treatment, is a commodity. So it's something that anyone in Spain can access. So anyone in Spain can have implants, because there are, you know, a sort of conditions or a lot of clinics that do implants, and also the prices that are, as you have so many competitors, the price of the implant is lower than in the US and in the other markets. So you can really go for an implant treatment with a reasonable price compared, for example, in the US. And I think that in the US, when, you know, the competition starts really being more tightening, I think that the prices are going to be a little bit lower, and I think that the popularity will grow. This can be one of the factors. Culturally, of course, training education is a key. You are having a proper training education, proper training education offering to the dentists, so they can start being educated on implant dentistry, not only after finishing the dental degree, including inside during the dental degree. When you are student dental degree, you should already have some knowledge about implant dentistry, and after finishing, you should have a huge offer of courses and also graduation or master degrees, so you can learn and start with implant dentistry. And I think that training education is definitely one of the drivers for this growth.
Yeah, when I did a podcast with Marco Degola.
Yeah, Marco Gadola, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and my gosh, he let me try to read this a little more clearly. Dental implant penetration by country. And by the way, to the kids out there, you know, if you buy one share of stock by law from the SEC, Security and Exchange Commissioner, they have to mail you their 10Q quarterly report and 10Qs are allowed to be optimistic or hopeful in the P, and then their year-end 10K. And the 10K, you can't exaggerate, you can't be optimistic. It's just the facts. Do not read the 10Qs. There's too many companies, and just read the 10Ks. But let me tell you something. When you read the 10K of Patterson and Shine and Dentsply Sirona and Straumann, and I mean, my God, these are the biggest companies in dentistry telling Wall Street, who's invested billions and billions of dollars, and they're just priceless. And it, but like Strawman on when I was talking to Marco last time, I mean, my gosh, dental implant penetration by country per 10,000 population. So the highest one is South Korea, and it's like 400, and then it's Spain, where you are. By the way, in U.S. history class, Spain and Portugal used to be one country, then they broke up, then they got married, then they got divorced. It's kind of in and out of one country or two. Is that right or wrong?
No, it's actually it was Portugal is the most ancient country in Europe with the actual frontiers, borders. So Portugal was first before Spain, because before Spain was split into different kingdoms, and Portugal was already a formed country before Spain get together. These kingdoms got together, but yes, Portugal was, a sort of a gift of a county to a French, let's say a French knight. I will say a knight. Yes, a knight. Like a French knight. So and he convert that county into a country that is Portugal. So
that was my first trip outside of the United States, because I went to Catholic high school, and they were always trying to get all the boys to be a priest and all the girls to be a nun. So they would fly you at 16. They rented a 747, and they flew all the boys to Fatima, Lisbon, Portugal, to Fatima, and then we were at Fatima for 10 days. And the whole deal was trying to get you to cancel your plane ticket home. And my two sisters, they did it. It worked on them. They canceled, became nuns. They're still Catholic nuns. But I came home mainly because I wanted to see this blonde girl named Jane who lived next door to me. But anyway, enough of that. So South Korea is number one at it's like 400. Then Spain is next. And in my walnut brain, Spain, Portugal, then Italy, then Germany, then Austria, then by France, you're at about 50. And my God, by the time you get to, then you got Sweden, Netherlands, then you're at the U.S. And I mean, we're, the only person smaller than the U.S. on this chart is Australia. Australia, so I don't know what they're doing down under, but it probably has something to do with a koala bear and a kangaroo. But I mean, when I look at the U.S. penetration of dental implants per 10,000 people, I mean, my gosh, it's not even a fraction of Spain and South Korea. What explains that huge discrepancy?
Yeah, I think that mainly, definitely, there is a lot of room for growth in the U.S. And I think that is basically, I think that the T&E offering, I think that there is a huge room for improvement, for not in the quality but in the quantity, on enabling these dentists, young dentists, into implant dentistry. And also, I don't know how is the regulation there on the implant dentistry side. And also, I think that from the legal point of view, in the US, when you have a problem with the patients, which is something that happens very often compared to Europe, I think that maybe is an obstacle or a roadblock for some dentists, to go into implant dentistry. I think that, it's not the same to have a problem with a dental filling or to have a problem with an implant. It's much more serious. So I think that the dentists, maybe they are not feeling encouraged and having a legal problem with a patient with an implant, and they prefer to stick to, to more simple and conventional treatments. instead of complicating themselves with more complicated treatments. But of course, at the end, you have to choose. If you want to progress in your professional career, if you have to grow, and if you don't want to end up with 60 years old only doing fillings, so you have to move on and you have to specialize yourself into orthodontics, into endodontics, or into implant dentistry. So then you have to overcome these roadblocks. But I think it's culturally, but also the T&E offering, I think it's key. It's key.
Well, you know how some people want a vaccine for the coronavirus? I just want a vaccine for lawyers. Could we cure the legal disease before the coronavirus? I think most Americans would agree with that. So back to the lawsuits. The way I see the lawsuits, it's really more the dentist's fault from psychologically. Like, if you go get your knees or your hips done, the doctors clear as a bell tell grandma, okay, it's $50,000 to get a new hip. Knees are $10,000 a piece. And if you're lucky, you might get 5 or 7 years out of this. Here's a dentist. I swear to God, if I place an implant there, you'll end up taking it to heaven someday. It'll last the rest of your life. And then 10, 12 years later, it fails. But she thought satisfaction equals perception minus expectation. When it comes to pain, I mean, I always lower expectations. Every time I pull a tooth, I always hold it in front of the patient and go, Cisco, look at the hook on the end of that root. I swear to God, it was hooked back behind your eye. When this thing wears off, I hope you have a gun because you're going to want to shoot yourself. And I'm sorry about that, man. And they're just like prepared for rock bottom. And then they come back 2 weeks later and go, Howard, it didn't even hurt. I mean, and when they say, well, after that root canal, can I go back to work? Go back to work. Dude, you're going to wish you were dead. After the root canal, you're going to wish you were never born, okay? You're probably, oh my God, go back to work. So you lower their expectations, and then when they jump over it, you're good. And I think the problem with implants, match it. Cosmetics, a girl will break out front teeth and say, well, can you match that one? And I say, okay, look, God made this one, and a short, fat, bald guy made this one. So far, no one's ever accused me of being God, but if you think I can do it as good as God, you're the first woman on earth that ever said that. So I say, well, hell no, I can't make it look just like that one because I'm not God. And then so their expectations are all low, and then I do the best I can, and then they're expecting a nightmare. Then when they get to me, they're like, oh my God, it's fine. They're all happy. So I think a lot of the dental lawsuits are dentists raising people, and that's salesmen. Everybody hates salesmen because they overpromise, underdeliver. And you have to underpromise and overdeliver, and that's why no one likes a used car salesman. So when someone replaces an implant, how long should we say it's going to last so we don't get them thinking they're going to take it to heaven when they die someday?
I absolutely agree that we should be better on managing expectations with patients. I think that is also our fault when it comes to manage the expectation with patients. And I have some tips on that, like you have, and you just share. And for example, when I'm placing an implant to a patient, and for example, during the surgery, I'm already suturing, but I'm telling the patient, now we are going to start drilling the hole just to place the implant. I'm explaining him, but I'm already suturing, and he thinks that I am starting to place the implant, and I'm already suturing. And then after, 10 seconds, and I say, that's it, you can go. And they say, oh my God, but you just tell me that you are going to start. You say, I was, just to make you feel a little bit anxious for 1 second. And in 10 seconds, you just say, no, it's finished. You are at suture, you can go home. And it's a sort of, to manage in place with the patient, and to make them feel a relationship of trust with you. Because and even when during an extraction, when it gets complicated, you already remove the teeth, and you can tell to your patient, hey, this is going to take longer than I thought. I'm sorry for that. And the truth is already out, but you can tell that to the patient, and the patient said, okay, it's fine. But then you just 10 seconds later, you can tell to the patient, it was a joke. The teeth is already here. You can see it. You can go home, and he's going to feel so happy, and he's going to be your patient forever. So in that part, I absolutely agree with you that managing your expectations, the expectation is really, really, really important. When it comes to what we can promise to the patients, it's a look. There is an important factor, and there is some articles that support that. Brand matters. It is. All the brands, the implant systems, they are not the same. And there is scientific data that proves that. Also, I think that we have enough data to say that the survival rate of an implant, that I'm not talking about success, I'm talking about survival rate, after 10 years is go up to 98%, depending on the brand that you are using, but 98% of the implants are going to have a survival rate. So you can tell to the patient, 10 years, you should not have problems. We have a success ratio of more or less 98% to 10 years. After that, of course, there are no now long-term studies, and that number goes a little bit lower. But this should be, this should be the ideal case scenario. But of course, it depends on the patient. Because in this research, in these publications, then you have the inclusion criteria. And this is something that you have to read very carefully. Is it a smoker? What is the medical condition of the patient? It's not the same placing an implant in a smoker than in a no-smoker. It's not the same place and placing an implant in a patient with an ASA 1 or ASA 3, or a patient with some, diabetic or other systemic disease. So you have to consider this and talk to the patient in a different, every patient is one different situation. So you cannot manage the expectations of a patient that is a diabetic with a high systemic disease and a smoker than a patient with 24 years old and is healthy and with completely and is also with good habits. So it's completely depending on the patient. So when the patient tells you is going to last forever, you have to say that no, this is not going to last forever. Of course, if your patient is 90 years old, you can tell me, you can just clap him in the shoulder and say this is going to last forever. Don't worry, because you are 90 years old, this is going to be forever. But if your patient is going to is 20 years old or 24, you say maybe we don't know. Sometimes you have to look at other medical specialties, as you mentioned, a hip, okay, or I'm going to replace your hip, I'm going to replace a bubble in your heart, and in 10 years I have to replace it because you need it. So you are already managing the expectations of the patient. So we have to be mindful when it comes to these expectations and how to manage this with the patients that we want to treat with implants.
When you're at Straumann and you look around the world, I think people like architecture and food and all that because we're all humans, we all got to eat. But everybody makes food differently. I love architecture. A simple thing like a bathroom is so different in every country. What you're seeing with Straumann, you're seeing dentistry from 30,000 feet around the world. What variances do you see that we all should do? Obviously, you're seeing some countries doing it faster, better, easier, more profitable. What lessons have you picked up from around the world that the individual person listening to you right now should learn and adopt?
Yeah, I think that there are some cultural difference around the world. For example, when I go lecturing to the Nordics, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, they are much more conservative. They are really into perio, into preserve the teeth, into stick to the conventional protocol, loading protocols. Placing the implant, wait 3 months, then replace and then load the implant. They're very really careful, conservative. They go really for how we can say, really treatments that are already supported in the scientific literature. They are not supported. They are supported by meta-analysis and with systematic reviews and these kind of publications. And when you go to the countries, more Mediterranean countries, like, for example, Italy or Portugal or Spain, you will see much more immediacy. People, they search, the dentists like to offer to the patient, you are going to go out of my office with your denture on your teeth. And this is happening also in the States. In the States, I think in the United States, culturally you are quite close to that, of offering to the patient immediacy. You come to the office, we remove your hopeless teeth, and you go out to you go back home with your new denture. And this is some of the difference. And of course, for me, there are other parts of the world that I do not know so much, but I'm learning about this market. For example, in China, there's a completely different approach on implant dentistry. They have big hospitals where they treat a lot of people, but of course they are quite open to implant dentistry, and they are really interested in learning everything that comes out on new protocols. And yeah, that is my point of view. And also in the countries, for example, I lecture a lot in South America, and also they feel a lot of respect to the implant. There are some specialists that place implants. Not everyone places implants. It's a treatment that is only performed by just a few people, and is not yet so popular as it could be in how we can say a Latino country like Colombia, Chile, or Venezuela. But I think that this switch and this change will happen in the near term. So this is the main cultural things that I feel when I go traveling around the world, and when I talk to the different dentists. That with social media we can be close to anyone in the world, and we can be connected, and we have our network of dentists in our social media that we can see the difference between them, even though you cannot travel right now, but you can really check with them what are the difference, and you see that really is something culturally. No, it's a mindset.
Straumann, you mentioned Brazil. Straumann has done a lot of amazing mergers and acquisition. I think they've been, from a business point of view, just incredibly smart. They bought Neodent in Brazil, and why did they buy Neodent? And how was Neodent different than Straumann in Switzerland? And then how does it look now that it's merged into one company?
Yeah, I think that is a very good question, and I think that Neodent, it was a really nice move from Straumann. It was before I was in Straumann. It was I believe that the acquisition, it was 2014. I believe it, or 2012. We started in 2012, and definitely it was 2014 or 15. But it was a really smart move, because they really bought a really good product that they want to at some point. Straumann wants to have the value segment fulfill the value segment with an implant system and that is reliable, that has a scientific background, and also that has other value propositions. Also Neodent, they have Ilapeo, their own university, where they can do training education to enable dentists into more complex cases and even into more more simple cases. So I think that the overall package with Neodent was really a good movement, and I think that this acquisition was I agree with Straumann 100% on this acquisition, because the product is amazing. I've been placing now 3 years. The Neodent is a special implant. You have to know how to place it, because it's an implant that you have to place it successfully. You have to manage one abutment one time. You just place the abutment in the same day of the surgery. It's a system that you have to learn how to manage it. But then you see the X-rays, and then you see how the bone is preserved around the implant, and now you see how all the peri-implant soft tissue and all the peri-implant bone is preserved, and you say, oh my God, this system is really great. And when you put in New Balance, you put in the hand, the outcome that you have with the Neodent, and also the price that you can have, or the cost that you can have in the treatment with Neodent. So you can open more, you can offer these treatments to more patients with the Neodent. And I think it's really a nice product, and for me it really helps me, because I'm in the dental business, and for me Neodent is really a tool or a system or a solution that I think is really, really, really helpful for the company and creates a lot of value.
I want to tell you that when you came on the show today, I have a hard time recognizing you, because I'm used to you on your YouTube channel where you have that white sweater on, jacket that says Periospot on it.
Yeah.
And you know what jacket I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so you're not wearing your uniform. I thought you'd have Periospot on, but what is Periospot, and why on all your videos, you're the Periospot founder? What is Periospot?
Okay, so I can tell you the story about Periospot, because Periospot was, when I start with implant dentistry, I start documenting my cases. And at some point I have, a huge amount of clinical cases on my computer. And I said, these clinical cases, they don't have any value here in my computer. And, all the things that I study, all the research that I read every day, every single day, all the publications, they don't have any value if I do not share what I know with the rest of the world. And then in 2008, all these social media appear, Instagram, we have Twitter, we have Facebook. We start with the dental communities, with dental groups. And I start with a website that it was Francisco Barbosa Implantology.com, where I was just uploading my case there, and it was like a showcase. And then during the MBA, when I start the MBA, during the MBA, they ask you that you have to build from scratch a project, and you have to create a startup. So my startup, my idea was, let's just, clone Dental XP and make it better. That was my idea. And I said, I'm going to do something like Dental XP, but I'm going to improve some things. And I'm going to attract a new public into my new platform. And, you have to create this project, and then you have to present to some business angels. And if they like the idea, they are giving you the money, and then you can further develop your idea, and you can go for this startup, and build the startup. The thing is that I present the project to these business angels, and they like the idea, but they said, this is not a unicorn. This is for a niche. This is for a dentist only. And we are searching for a unicorn. We are searching for Twitter. We are searching for Netflix. We are searching for something like that. So I didn't get the money, but I didn't give up from the project, because I already paid the platform. I paid the web page, I paid the server, I paid the design, everything. And I said, I'm going to start creating content and putting content there The main problem that I have, that now I have some collaborators, but Daniel Robles is collaborating with me. But at some point, I feel a little bit alone on this, because Periospot, it's myself, creating the content, reading, writing, and now I have some guest posts from other dentists around the world, which I really thankful them for their collaboration. But at the end, you have to put this, you have to do all these illustrations, create the animations, put it in the website, and all this during the weekend, because during the week I have a 9 to 5 work with Straumann Group, and then in the weekend I switch to Periospot. So you have to, it's almost working, 8 hours per day during 24/7, 36, 65. Yeah.
But you could save a lot of money if you dropped your 5 kids off at the orphanage. Have you ever thought of that?
It's for me. Periospot for me is not giving me any. The income that I get from Periospot doesn't cover the spend. So I can tell you that. The Periospot is not. Right now, it's not profitable. It's not profitable. If I put the hours that I put there, I can tell you that it's not profitable, because we don't have nothing there potentially to sell. We just have some affiliations, if someone buys a book or something like that from Periospot in Amazon, so we have affiliation links we recommend, but that's it. So that's the way we monetize Periospot. But at the end, it's my passion, because Periospot keeps me, it's like, and push me to be updated every day, and to read every day, scientific publications, to be updated, and to create things that are valuable, and then I can use for other purpose. Then I can use, for lecturing, I can use for training education, and I think it's really something that keeps me alive.
Well, I can say is the children aren't profitable either, so just remember that. Hey, I want to cut right to the chase, and that is peri-implantitis or a failure. Right? We're talking about expectations, and on this program, at least a quarter of our viewers are still in dental kindergarten school, and it seems like almost all of them are under 30. Send me an email, howard@dentaltown.com, especially if you're over 30, or leave a comment in the section. So I want you to summarize for them. They want to know, if you placed 100 implants, let's say you placed 100 implants, what would be the top 3 reasons they fail? I mean, we hear so much about smoking, we hear about peri-implantitis. Some people do things where they hook an implant to a natural tooth. Some are failed because there's cantilevers on them. But could you just kind of go through the low-hanging fruit of what you shouldn't do and where all your problems are going to end up on a failure?
Yeah, it's a multifactorial, and you just mentioned some of them. I think that, for example, as many implants as you place, the more likelihood you have peri-implantitis. The less implants you place, the less likelihood you have peri-implantitis. Also, of course, there is the brand. Some brands, there is some more likelihood of developing a peri-implantitis. Then there is the host, the patient. There is a smoker, no smoker, systemic disease. And there is something that for me is really, really important, is if the patient has any antecedent of periodontitis. If a patient just went to your office and he already has a periodontitis, and if you do not properly address this problem before you go into implants, you will have a problem, because you have to control these patients that have peri-implantitis, because how you can say that the causes that for periodontitis also will affect the implants. So the bacteria will remain if you do not address this problem. And this is one of the main reasons. And there is scientific evidence here when it comes to when you have a patient with periodontitis, just treat the periodontitis, stabilize the disease, and then go for the implants. And the other reasons is the prosthetic design, how you design the prosthesis, how you should design. You should design something that allows the patient to hygienize at home the implant, so they can have a proper hygiene of the implant. So it's a sort of a multifactorial factors that can affect and can lead to have a perimplantitis. And these are, for me, the main reason. And of course, there are other reasons. When you place the implants, where you place the implants, in which conditions, does the implants have, is surrounded by bone, the position of the implants, is it positioned in the 3D ideal position? Is it not positioned in the 3D ideal position? So it's a multifactorial ecosystem that can affect the outcome on the medium long term with the periimplantitis.
And what do you when you the young kids, I mean, this is so confusing to the young kids because someone like you who is a runner and watches their diet and does everything right, they're never sitting in our chair needing implants. The person sitting in our chair, especially I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, the person in the chair, my God, I'm just thankful that he's not smoking in the chair. You know what I mean? They throw it out on the way in. And I got one patient, oh my God, I love him to death, but he always throws a cigarette out as he walks in, but his last exhale is in the waiting room. My God, when I started out dental school, I was referring all these people that I thought they had a liver problem because I thought I was smelling ketones or acetone in their breath, because I didn't even realize that 10% of America, or 14%, is an alcoholic. And so the people that need all these implants are smoking, they're drinking. Let's just admit they're all Irish. And they're smoking, they're drinking. They don't eat right. They eat fast food. And she's like, are they still patients? And on the one hand, it's their money. They have a smoker has the right to buy cigarettes and a dental implant. But I mean, this health history, it just seems kind of bizarre, because the worse the health history is, the more they need dental implants. So how are you supposed to think about all that?
Yeah, this is a whole story, and it really, you have to be, you really have to inform your patient. If he's a smoker, you have to tell him, you are a smoker. If you do not quit smoking, you will have problems in the future with implants. And this reminds me also to my patients, when I do some sort of immediate loading, and you tell the patient, you should avoid any kind of, you should go for soft diet for, 2 months. And then you just place the implants, you place the prosthesis in the same day, and you come out of the office and you see your patient in the cafeteria eating a sandwich just after the surgery, and they say, oh my God, I just told him about the soft diet about after the immediate loading, and he's eating a sandwich here in front of me. So this is a thing that is the patient, the factor patient is something that you cannot control. Also, you tell him, this is the hygienic habits that you should implement. Is he going to implement it? Is there any way that you can monitorize that? Yeah, we are building tools for that. And at Straumann, we are now developing some AI tools that can track, and you can do some kind of check-in at home and check the patients from home, so that with teledentistry, and check if they are plaque, and if they have, if they are gingivitis, if they are mucositis. So these sort of tools that can help in right now us tracking much more the patient and control the patient. But the thing is that the patient also has to commit to a treatment. When you place an implant to a patient, you are marrying him or her, and you are creating a bond. And this patient is going to be with you forever. And when he has a problem, or when he doesn't have a problem, but he will be with you forever. So you should take placing an implant as a marriage. And of course, a marriage is a two-way around thing. It's not just one way. I commit myself to do my job properly, to place an implant in the proper position, to deliver a prosthetic that is nice and it's good to deliver the function. But you have to also have to commit, to get into the hygienic habits. If you are a smoker, you should quit smoking. It's not only good for the implant; it's going to go good for your overall health. And the other things, you should control your diabetes. You should control your diet. You should, it's like creating new habits, and you can recommend him even to the patients. Start reading James Clear book, Atomic Habits. Let's maybe it will help you to change your habits. So it's a sort of this factor. The patience is something that we cannot control, but at some point we have to manage.
You know what is the favorite cigarette among the Irish?
No, what?
Yours.
Sorry,
Their favorite cigarette is yours.
Yours.
Yeah, get it? They bum one from you. They don't buy their own. They just take your cigarette.
It reminds me. My grandfather. The doctor told me you cannot buy cigarettes anymore. He told me you cannot buy cigarettes. It was a mistake, and he said the doctor. And then we told him the doctor said that you have to quit smoking, and he said no. He told me that I could not buy cigarettes. So I borrowed for you. So he was borrowing cigarettes. So he keeps smoking. And my grandfather now is 96 years old and he keeps smoking. So it's something that, it depends on the genetics.
Yeah. My doctor told me the only good pair of jeans I had was a pair of Levi's. And so all the rest were crazy. When you, we're in a recession because, there's 12 months in the year, and in Arizona, we had to close down for 2 months. So when you take revenue for 12 months and 2 of those months are a zero, I mean, You're already, what is, I should know this off the top of my head, what is 1 divided by 6? I mean, that's already a 16 point, that's 17% down for the year. So money is always important, and I always tell people they got an idea, hold up your hand. Is it better, faster, easier, cheaper, smaller? And if it's not better, faster, easier, cheaper, smaller, why isn't it? And so when they have failing implants with Periplantitis, there's companies that advertise $135,000 Millennium laser to help with Periplantitis, and my broke homies are like, dude, that's a lot of money. You can buy a house for $135,000. Do you think $135,000 laser is justified and a good investment to treat Periplantitis, or are there cheaper, faster, or are there faster, better, easier, cheaper, smaller ways to treat it than with a big laser?
Well, I'm going to give you my opinion on my limited knowledge about, laser treatment for Periplantitis. I think there is a lack of research when it comes to meta-analysis and systematic reviews on this topic. So the last time I checked, there is sort of good results with laser. But the thing is that you have to now to ask yourself, is it going to be a predictable treatment in your hands, or is something that is going to work in someone that is really experienced in using laser, So for me, it's an option, and maybe it's going to be a solution for Periplantitis, but it has to be something that is easy to implement and easy to learn and is replicable and also reliable. So the thing is that if it comes an article that is saying that I have a success in Periplantitis treating with laser of, 85%, 90%, you cannot know if in your hands it is going to be it is going to be a reliable and feasible as well. So for me, in my opinion, perimplantitis for me is a really, really hard thing to treat. And in my opinion, and when it comes to perimplantitis, if the perimplantitis, the defect is not too big, and if it is something that we at the at the early stage, I try to treat it. I try to regeneration, and I try to start over. But the thing is that when I see that thing is not predictable with the defect, is a little bit bigger, I just go and I start all over again. I remove the implant, I regenerate, I wait, I place a new implant.
I call it dentistry uncensored because I don't want to talk about anything that everybody agrees with. I'm trying to find the stuff that gets you in trouble and gets controversy and debate and all this stuff.
Of course.
A lot of the old guys, and an old person is just anybody one day older than me. A lot of the old guys we're surgeons. We laid flaps. We dissected out the metal frame, and so we didn't hit it. We did surgery. And then we see, and we did everything with a two-dimensional x-ray. It was a pano. And we never had a CBCT or an MRI. In fact, I thought the greatest thing that ever happened in radiology was when they figured out how to put a R on one side and an L on the other on the pano so you could see which side it was. I mean, I still think that was the greatest invention in all of radiology, is that left and right thing. But we would lay a flap and we would place the implant, and if there's a problem, we'd lay a flap and go back. Now we see these kids with these $150,000 CBCT machines. They're sending a DICOM file to the lab. They're getting a guided splint. Hell, they're trying to buy a robot to actually place the implant. I mean, gosh, it just sounds like they don't even want to be a surgeon. I mean, I'm worried that if you're doing all of that, if you have a complication, they're not even going to know how to lay a flap and fix it. So my question is, succinctly, how come everyone that I personally know that's placed over 25,000 implants did the first 20,000 with a pano, never had a CBCT, and they never had a guided splint, and now we're being told by everyone who's 40 and under that you have to have a CBT, you have to have a guided splint, and if you don't, you're just a really bad guy and a bad surgeon, and when you die, you'll probably go to hell. So where's the middle ground here?
Yeah, well, here, the thing, what is science is telling about that? And we have an article in 2019 that was really, the conclusion is, I cannot recall the name of the author, but the conclusion was, placing implants with freehand or with guided surgery, the accuracy with guided surgery is going to be superior than with, freehand placement. Okay, so the position of the implant is going to be more accurate when we go for guided surgery. But the thing is that putting the message out there that guided surgery is for beginners, it can be a dangerous thing. Because I can tell you, I do a lot of guided surgery and I love guided surgery. But I have to tell you that sometimes I suffer. And I think I'm an experienced surgeon. And I suffer with guided surgery because, when you go for guided surgery and you have to place implants in the posterior, the patient has to open very wide the mouth, and you have to be, very mindful about, the drills and so on. And if everything is placed in where it should, and it's something that we should think about, that before you move into guided surgery, you really should be trained in other things, in raising flaps, in treating complications, in removing a lot of Winston teeth. You learn a lot on removing Winston teeth, on doing guided bone regeneration. Learn these things before, because you can, during a guided surgery, anything can happen. It can go bad. And the implant can be placed, in a position that was not planned, and you have to solve the situation in the same surgery. So you have to open a flap and you have to know how to do a guided bone regeneration and to place an implant with a free hand. And you have to be prepared to do a lot of things that otherwise, if you are a beginner and if someone tells you that you can solve everything with guided surgery, maybe you are doomed to failure. So before moving into guided surgery, my recommendation is learn about raising a flap, learn about perio surgery, learn about oral surgery, learn about guided bone regeneration, learn about periplantitis, learn about how to remove an implant, learn about how to fix things in the same moment that you have a problem in the surgery. Because with guided surgery, of course, it's going to be, well, a lot of the most of the times, 99%, 98%, but the 2% of the cases that you mess up, you have to be prepared during the surgery to fix that. And doing that in a fashion way that your patient doesn't even notice it. So this is my message. Okay, guided surgery is okay. You should plan everything, in a comprehensive way and using all the digital tools that you have right now available. But just be mindful that you have to know all the rest. You have to know a lot of surgery and now a lot of other techniques before you move to guided surgery.
That was a beautiful answer. So, what I tell the kid, and by the way, we've gone over an hour, and I know you're it's 3:30 here. What time? You're what? 8 hours ahead of me. What time is it there? 9:30.
It's yes, it's 11:35.
It's 11:35 at night?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry because I know the bars close at midnight. Are you going to miss the last call for alcohol at the bar? When they come out of school, even though they paid $100,000 a year for 4 years, they didn't place a single implant. They owe $400,000 in student loans. I met a young lady the other day, graduating from dental school, did not do a root canal on a human. She only did 12 root canals on extracted teeth in a lab, yet it has $400,000 student loans. I'm not talking about how do you get her to place an all-on-4, but what advice would you give her? I mean, you got to go up the stairway. What would be the first steps when you come out of school, you're $400,000 student loans, you've never placed one implant, and then here's Francisco on the top of the Empire State Building. How does she just get to where she can place a single implant? And in America, when you look at the insurance data, we number the teeth 1 to 32. So the 6-year molars are the 4 6-year molars. When you look at the insurance spikes, just 4 big spikes on the, what's the tooth most likely to be crowned? The first molar, root canal, MOD, extracted, implant. I mean, in America, almost more than half of all the dentistry is done on 4 teeth, the 4 6-year molars. What would she have to do to be able to place one implant on a 6-year molar? What path would you give her?
I would give you my advice would be that she should start with simple surgeries. Extractions. You can start with extractions of perio teeth, then extraction of some Windsor teeth, then extraction of frenectomy, perio surgery. You can start with perio surgery, regenerative perio surgery, a small, these small surgeries. Get used, to use the surgical knife and to get used to the surgery. And after that, after you understand how to raise a flap and you feel comfortable on raising a flap, and also after you understand what should be the ideal patient to place the implant, and you really know how to plan an implant, you can start with that. But also there is one thing that I think is important is after the dental school, after you finish, and if you want, just find a mentor, just find someone that is your godfather, that you're gonna that is going to be there for you. You can email him, or you can send him a message, and he can help you in any case, in any doubt. You should have a godfather, someone that really is there for you in case you need help, and to guide you through the pathway, to your where you see yourself in 10 years, and that can help you. So for me, it's really that is really important. This part, this is more the human part, or the philosophical part, and then the technical part, that is, start with simple extractions, with the wisdom tooth, and small surgeries, perio-surgeries, but do a lot of that. And then you go for you start placing your first implant in a molar, where you have 10 millimeters of bone with 8 and 40 millimeters of bone of weight of wide. So I would start with simple cases, and from there you start complicate yourself. And then when you see in some years, you will see yourself doing full arches, but don't rush. The thing is that you should not rush. If you have any doubt about any case, just refer. You have to search not your happiness and not your fulfillment on your professional career. You have to search for your patient happiness. That is your first goal. That should be your first goal. So at any moment that you feel that you are not comfortable what you want to do, just refer it to someone that you think that is an expert and is going to solve and is going to fulfill patient expectations.
There's so many different implant companies, and Straumann actually has purchased a lot of them, like Neodent. That's the largest implant company in Brazil. Etcon, my gosh, so many companies, Neodent, Medentica, Botis, we keep naming them. What all did you guys buy? MIS, Make It Simple implant?
No. MIS was acquired by Dentsply.
Oh, okay, Dentsply, but I knew it got acquired. I had the acquisition right. And then you bought Clear Correct, right? Did you buy?
Yes.
So do you own the whole company, Clear Correct?
Yes, Clear Correct, yes.
Yeah. And that's the big famous all-on-4 company, right? That's what you're talking about?
No, Clear Correct is ortho.
Oh, no, Clear Correct is ortho. But but Clear Choice dental implants.
Choice. No, Clear Choice is a DSO in the US. They are Straumann customers.
But they only place your implants, though, right? You have an exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
So Clear Choice, the largest all-on-4 company DSO in America. By the way, what's the largest DSO in Europe?
In Europe, the largest DSO right now, I could say that is Colosseum Dental Group. Colosseum Dental Group. They are in the Nordics and England.
Do you
UK.
know the CEO, or do you know anybody there?
Yeah, his name is Nilsson. I cannot recall the surname, but I know him personally. He's a really nice guy, Nilsson. But But
can you introduce us via email? Send me an email, howard@dentaltown.com, and CC him.
Yeah, sure. I can bridge you. I can connect you.
So the thing I was to make about your acquisitions, what's the short list of implant companies that you've acquired? Neodent, Straumann, Neodent. What are they?
Straumann, Neodent, Medentica, Antogir. These are the main companies that we managed right now.
And so Brazil is, my gosh, it's one of the neatest countries in the world. Have you been down to Brazil? Have you been there?
No, never.
Oh my God, it is just so beautiful. It's so cool. It's amazing. But I have to imagine that Straumann in Europe versus Neodent in Brazil. You both made implants for your local people. Did you learn any, the Straumann parent company, did they learn anything from Neodent about, what did Neodent learn in a country of 200 million Brazilians versus Straumann. Did you learn anything huge from that?
Yeah, I think it was quite interesting because right now when you are at Straumann HQ, in Switzerland, in Basel, you see that there are a lot of Brazilian people that used to work in Neodent, and now they work on Straumann HQ. And this is a great thing because there is some culturally exchange there, and at some point the Brazilians, they have a mindset that is more Latino mindset that brought to Straumann maybe a little bit more, this, how I could say, this mindset of being a little bit more daring, a little bit more, I say, extroverted. So there is a lot of character that the Brazilians right now brought into Straumann Group. And the other way around, with the Straumann Group, Straumann also exported to Neodent, the Swiss way of doing things, that is searching always for perfection. Yeah, and in all the situations, from operational point of view, product point of view, and presentations point of view, and in all the management point of view. So it was like an exchange, a cultural exchange, but we can say that there was an exchange in a lot of layers, not only culturally and not on management and on and other fields. So yeah, of course, I think that everyone learned with this fusion. The Brazilians learned, and also the Swiss learned from the Brazilians. It was really a nice match.
Well, all I want to say is this podcast is not over, homies, because you can go to YouTube user, that's his child name, Tuminha, Tuminha 21, and my gosh, I've watched all of his videos. He's just a great teacher. He's a great guy to listen to, and so switch now to his. By the way, Francisco, not that you need any marketing. Hell, you got 10,000 followers on Twitter and your YouTube channel, but when you post on Dental Town, when you make a post, there's a button there with the link that says the YouTube button. And on YouTube, when you have a video, you can click share, which gives you the little YouTube code. But the next button over is embed. On share, you click embed, and then you drop that button in the Dental Town post, and it's your YouTube video. And everyone that does that, it explodes their YouTube channel. I mean, your YouTube channel's already exploded, but if you drop in some of your YouTube videos into the message board thread, I know my homies on Dental Town, not only will they watch the video, they'll subscribe to your video. So I just want to thank you for going over an hour. I feel so bad that I kept you up so late. The bars are closed, and you're going to have to go to bed sober for the first time in your entire life. I'm so sorry. 5 kids, and the poor man has to go to bed sober. But thank you so much for coming on the show. It was just a huge honor, and when the pandemic's over, I hope to see you in Spain again.
I hope to see you in person also, Howard. And I really thank you for having me, and also for to support me on my Spanish English podcasting. I think it's not the only one Spanish English podcasting, but I think your audience is prepared to listen to me, and understand me perfectly. But I really appreciate your invitation. For me, it was a great honor, and don't worry about the hours, because I will get sleep anyway, so no problem for me.
All right, well, sleep tight. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.